Thank you very much to Amarjeet, APPG, as well as all the speakers today for sharing their views and experiences. My topic is probably known to all of us. We are all not new to yoga and Ayurveda, so I'll keep it very short. The eternal principles of yoga and Ayurveda are what maintain us and have made yoga and Ayurveda the universal sciences as well as the eternal sciences. These basic principles offer us stability, not only in India. I mean, that was something that I was asked in the beginning years in Germany. Can something which has been practiced in India be also good to practice in Europe? How is it relevant to people in Europe, in a different culture, in a different setting, etc.? So it was obvious that the basic principles are based on our relation to nature and our relation to how we conduct our lives. We do not expect everybody to use or eat rice and dal every day like you do in India, but you have to adapt certain things. So yoga and Ayurveda also affords you not just stability in the sense of the eternal principles, but also to use these principles with a certain flexibility and adapt that to your own situation wherever you may be in the world. Right, so I'd like to, we have spoken a lot about the theory of COVID as well as yoga and Ayurveda. I'd like to give a very short story to demonstrate how people should be empowered to look after their own health. In India, we have a lot of lovely stories that demonstrate certain messages. Very, very long ago, there used to be a king who saw that his subjects were suffering. They were suffering due to difference to the weather influences. Sometimes it was raining, there were hailstones, it was heat, and he didn't like the way his subjects were suffering. So he spoke to his ministers and he said, we need to build a roof over the kingdom so that everybody is protected. Now, you don't need to be an architect to know that building a roof over the whole kingdom is impossible. But the king was not to be moved. He needed to build this roof. So they started building a roof over the whole kingdom. The resources, the money that was going into building this, as well as the effort, as well as, everything was going into it. And of course, it was a project that was never going to succeed. As soon as they built it up on one side, another side was starting to collapse. But there was nobody in the kingdom who could convince the king that this is not a good idea. One fine day after, many years, a long time went by and people were getting quite desperate how to convince the king. A yogi came into the kingdom and he said, let me speak to the king. I think I can convince him. The people looked at the yogi. He was, a wandering a yogi who didn't look he didn't look very elegant, or he didn't look like an academic. He didn't look very enlightened, but they were like, okay, they were so desperate to convince the king, they did let him go and speak to the king. The yogi went up to the king and he said, dear king, I know this is a very noble aim that you have, and you want to fulfill your duty to protect the people. But the project of building a roof over the whole kingdom is putting everybody under enormous stress. What if we have something that is a much simpler idea, something which is much simpler for everybody to use? The king was happy that somebody had understood that he was being very duty bound and very conscious of his duty. And he was actually also pleased that somebody was going to offer him a solution which could be better. So he said, yes, please, go ahead. And I'm sure you can imagine what this yogi produced. He produced an umbrella. He showed the king this umbrella and said, see, this umbrella is going to protect every one of these people in your kingdom without you needing to build a roof over your whole kingdom. I think the message of the story will be clear to everybody in the sense of the situation we have today with COVID and what do we need to protect the whole world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.